Ready for our first tour.
Okay, so let's start walking.
Bob and Kathy. Bicycles going to the free ferry, and these people are going to the train station. Inside the train station are shops and administrative buildings. This waterway is above the subway system. There you see some tour boats, reasonably priced, and of all things, a Chinese restaurant. This is the Electrical Museum, designed for college level and elementary kids. Here you see a playground. These boats are in for repair or dockage. They are all over 100 years old. There's a shop through the museum which repairs these boats, brings them up to safety standards, but does not bring them up to date entirely. All of them are functional sailing vessels. This is the shop. The ship Amsterdam, refurbished, and now a museum. The water in the canals is salt water from the sea. In Amsterdam, we recycle everything. This is a brew pub specializing in beer and collection of beer. Here we are at Kinderdijk, day 2. The windmills at Kinderdijk are a group of 19 momentum windmills built in 1738 through 1740 to keep the water out of the ponder. It is the largest concentration of old windmills in the Netherlands. This is the new walkway. When we were here in 2018, this walkway did not exist.
Kinderdijk translates as children's dike. And this building, in the old days, in 1421, we experienced one of the worst known floods in this area. And during this flood, the cradle with the baby inside and the cat dancing on top landed on one of our dikes. And some people saved the baby, I hope the cat too. But at the moment they saved the baby, they started calling this area Kinderdijk, children's dike. Nice and romantic story.
This is the old powerhouse, which is under reconstruction just because it's a UNESCO site. Most of this was constructed after World War I. This is a map of Kinderdijk. And here you can see a diorama. This is located on the roof of the new tourist reception center.
Yeah, exactly, same.
Everything sinks away over there. If you drive over there with a golf cart, you get stuck in the mud. It's very soft. Over here it's okay, but so this is the windmill, built in 1738. Still happy we have a couple.
So when they play the sails, is that to make
Yeah, it's petrol.
just like a ship?
Yeah, actually, it's like a ship. The sails are made out of canvas, cotton, kind of mixture of it. In the old days, it were spare sails. There are old sails from the ship. And
These wheels were all constructed from wood, and those clogs you see there, or cogs, would last about 5 years. Then they figured out they could pull them out and turn them around and get another 5 years out of them. In the distance, you see a clock tower. This town was a very small village, but since it's become a large tourist area, the town has grown just to satisfy the tourist trade.
the rope going all the way down, so the miller who can put on the brake or release the brake. That's it. A couple of details though. Cap on the windmill can rotate 360 degrees in order to point the blade properly to the wind. The weight of the cap is 55,000 pounds, about 25,000 kilos. The rest will cover car and all like a steering wheel and no.
The tour guides all live in the compound. They're volunteers, and they're really dedicated to the tourist group, although they say it sometimes becomes rather stressful, so many tourists. This is along the Rhine. You can see sunrise is just about to happen, and this is in mid-September. So we're looking at something between 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning. Notice all the traffic. Volksplatz. And they're throughout Germany. They're parks designed for the people. Some have a cost associated with them, some do not. Years ago, I worked on Zug Island, where we unloaded coal and iron ore. And I can certainly say the equipment we used there was much larger than what they're using here to unload coal. However, these coal boats only draft about 6 feet, where the Great Lakes ships were drafting 20 to 25 feet. This brick was built up around these facades. Here you can see the original stonework from the Roman walls. The cathedral at Caen, or Cologne if you prefer the French enunciation. A little overcast that day with a little bit of rain. For a few extra dollars, you could walk something like 300 steps up to the top. One of the many altars throughout the cathedral. As it says, just a silly little drain. There were so many ships on the Rhine after COVID that this is winter storage for Viking on the Rhine, and they are parking their tour boats in this winter storage and busing us tourists into town and back out of town. A great job by the crew. Not sure if this swan thought it was its big brother, or by getting close to it, it could move it out of the pond. Was an old fortress built somewhere in the 1800s, and from our side of the Rhine, cable car was the easiest way to get there. We had a nice tour.
So there you can see the different coats of arms of the different owners of Marksburg Castle through the time, and the history of the castle starts here on the right side. This means the oldest buildings are nearly 800 years old. Here in front of one of the oldest buildings over here, so this is the Romanes Palace. The lower part was built in 1239. Metals down in the factory, and the resulting smoke was going up through the stacks, so the smoke wasn't stuck down in the town where people are living. Here on top of the barrels is are these bellows, so you could push the wine from one barrel into another barrel. The wine was floating through leather pipes which were connected between the barrel. Children were served wine mixed with water up from the age of 7. This side is the ice cabinet, which people already had in the Renaissance. The icebergs were taken from seas or river and then stored in big ice cellars underneath straw or earth. And in the ice cellars, the icebergs lasted to the summer. Here you can see these teeth and puthocks, so the cauldrons were over here. So you could raise or lower the cauldrons depending on how much heat you wanted to have and use for cooking. This is one of the toilets belonging to the castle, and when they used the toilet over here, he was not the garden, he was then the ditch. Here behind me is a window seat. This is 11 feet long. This also means the walls behind us are 11 feet thick.
This has got to be one of the narrowest locks going.
We were saying it, that wow, there's not extra things on the...
And look at this guy over here enjoying life. Notice how close the ship is to the edge of the lock? This was a very narrow lock. There's some happy passengers staying inside out of the dampness. A lot of wood washed down the river when the storms came in mid-September.
We just have to climb a little. We're fine.
Yeah, it's good.
Are you supervising?
I am. I told him we just have to climb a little. We're fine.
Well, we're gonna have to jump the last few feet. Right? He's good. Oh, it's looking good.
Yeah. There's our ship leaving. Ships are not allowed to dock in Miltenberg. That's why it looks so shaky, is that gangplank was set up when we were leaving. Here's just a street scene of old Miltenberg. New Miltenberg is on the other side of the river. This is a tinkle station, statues put up by the townspeople in regards to some ordinance passed somewhere in the Archdiocese early on, maybe 18th, 19th century. A view of some of the buildings. This building right now you're looking at, the four buildings, are very famous. There's actually plastic models made of this.
First thing in the morning when the sun comes up, it will shine down and the top end of it, and at sunset it will shine at the other end. The most part, the ones that are the legal insurance, which you can't until the county, and the drop of a hat.
Very pretty old town. I was standing in this guy's doorway, apparently a little too long.
For our snack.
Old Town Hall, built sometime in the 16th century.
Yeah.
Just some more street scenes. This building you're looking at dead on is an old hotel. That arched doorway was designed so guests coming in their carriage could come inside the hotel and then get out of the carriage and get their luggage. Würzburg, day 6. Not very many good tours were offered. The Abbey was one of the choices, but it required masks and a lot of walking. A little bit of fog on the river this morning. Here you see a grain elevator. Ship is loading grain to take it out to the Atlantic for world trade. And just some of the countryside along the river valley. Wasn't a very nice day. Kind of dark and dank outside. A lot of the passengers spent time in one or two of the lounges.
And drive like crazy on the highway. Unfortunately, they have quite a few accidents. Germans, I think, will never accept the speed limit, even though once in a while you always hear politicians talk about it. But one of the biggest dreams of a German is to have a decent car. An Audi, a BMW. Audi has caught up a lot with BMW, or even if you can afford it, a Ferrari or a Porsche. And then we just want to use it well. So we're not speed addicts, so please don't think that. It's just part of our dreams to have a decent car at some point, and then we just want to use it properly on our highways. We just find it hard. It's a local tradition. We also don't say positive things easily. If we like something, it never shows. It's a German tendency in general, but it's even worse in this region. So if we like food in a restaurant, we call it rather interesting. Or if we like a wine in a restaurant, we call it drinkable. Or if we see a movie and we think it was really good, we say, I've seen worse movies before, that's right. That's a bit our way of being enthusiastic. that a third of the garbage of Rosenberg are snowball pieces because people buy them. They're everywhere in town. They try them and they don't like them much, and then they just throw it. It's a very dry pastry. That means if you have one, make sure to have something to Just a bit further down from the mast, if you just go down straight, there is a rectangular part of the stone cut out where the pointed arch is. And that was the moment when the mast was used. You might know what came through. Some argue the snowball. I don't that is called a pitch mast. So I guess it was pitch and oil that came through and was
Jim and Gothenburg, we never found a drinking fountain, a hard straw, but had an interesting afternoon purchasing a wine decanter. Also the town square. And
Changed since the last time I was here. All these new buildings.
Das mache ich auch schon. Ich hab so viel schon, ne? Auch so.
Viewing the new residence, which was the principal residence of the Prince Bishop of Bamberg, it's been preserved and has over 40 ornate rooms with high stuccoed ceilings, breathtaking paintings, furniture, and upholstery from the 17th and 18th century. Another jewel of the building is the Rose Garden in the inner courtyard, which offers a fantastic view of the city of Bamberg. Unfortunately, it was not open to us. The romantic universal artist E.T. Hoffmann was always in tune with current events. As an author, as a musician, a composer, a music critic. His works mirror his intensive interest in contemporary science. He came to Bamberg in 1808 and left in 1813. He was not fond of the town. As a matter of fact, he found it rather disgusting. He died in 1822 in Berlin. Bamberg, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is a quintessential German medieval town in Upper Franconia, Bavaria. The town sprawls over 7 hills and perches prettily on the shores of the river Regnitz. Altes Rathaus, or Old Town Hall, the most famous site in Bamberg, sits on its own island. When the Bishop of Bamberg refused to grant land for the construction of a town hall, the citizens built the island and then the town hall. One of the frescoes on the face of the old town hall has the leg of an angel extending from the fresco, so it looks like the angel is stepping out of the wall. The demonstration is an acknowledgement of the killing of the young lady by the Iranians for not wearing her veil. This statue is called the Ship of Fools. This bronze statue of a boat carrying 7 people, a skeleton, and a dog, based on a popular 16th century book by Sebastian Brandt, shows an expelled Adam, Eve, their murderous son Cain, and other violent figures. This is a scene showing the destruction of the world. Here we are in Riesenberg. As you notice, the bridge was under construction in 2015 and completed by 2022. You can tour Riesenberg both by boat Every one of these little towns, cities, villages have a tourist section, and it's well maintained and safe. Tour guide explaining some of the architect. Here's a little restaurant shop. And looking up the river, these were gatehouses, which were closed across the bridges to keep people out at night. Little mural on a building, 3 stories tall. And here's the tram or tour bus. Passau was an ancient Roman colony. During the second half of the 15th century, St. Stephenus established a monastery here. The site was subject to repeated raids. In 1662, a devastating fire consumed most of the city. Passau was subsequently rebuilt in the Baroque style. From 1892 to 1894, Adolf Hitler and his family lived in Passau. In 1739, the recently consecrated English Archbishop Boniface founded the Diocese of Passau, which for many years was the largest diocese in the German Kingdom, Holy Roman Empire. With 17,774 pipes and 233 registers, the organ at St. Stephen's was long held to be the largest church pipe organ in the world, and is today second in size only to the organ at the First Congressional Church of Los Angeles. Milk Abbey was founded in 1086 when Leopold II, Margrave of Austria, gave one of his castles to the Benedictine monks from the Lumbach Abbey. Due to its fame and academic stature, Mink managed to escape dissolution under Emperor Joseph II when many other Austrian abbeys were seized and dissolved between 1780 and 1790.
Svanhilda's portable altar is considered the oldest art treasure belonging to the abbey. It is the only Babenberg family possession that still exists nowadays. The ivory reliefs on the sides show scenes from the life of Jesus Christ, served as prayer book to travelling monks. Ever since the Middle Ages, this ivory cassette belongs to the abbey. It was supposedly used as a relic case.
You'll notice all of the items in the museum. It looks like a lot. There's double mirrors on either side, so what you're looking at is actually triple.
According to legend, Saint Coloman, an Irish pilgrim, was accused of espionage, taken prisoner near Vienna in Stockerau, and then martyred on a barren elder tree in 1012. After his death, the tree started to flower, which was acknowledged as a miracle. Since then, Coloman has been worshipped as a saint. His body was brought to Melk by the Babenbergs. The Coloman monstrance, a relic monstrance, contains the lower jaw of the saint. The most valuable treasure in Melk Abbey is the Melk Cross. It is said to contain a splinter of the cross.
Here we're in a large room that for a while served as a dining hall. And as you look up, you see the vaulted ceiling. Well, it's not a vaulted ceiling. The ceiling is actually flat. On the ceiling are paintings of mythological creatures. Also in the center, you'll notice there are angels fraternizing with human women. Not exactly what you would expect in an abbey. It hosts one of the oldest libraries in Europe. The first fire at Melk Abbey and its invaluable library was in 1297. This left the structures destroyed. This fire, plague, and famine led to the milk reform movement in the early 15th century. Most of the manuscripts Milk is famous for housing were saved by the monks. During the 1683 Turkish invasion, the Melk Abbey also suffered devastation. The abbey that stands today was built in 1702, caught fire in 1974. This second fire marred the ornamental rooms and damaged the interior and its art, leading to its restoration from 1978 to 1995. All of the bronze statues that you see here in Heroes Square are actually concrete. The Soviets, when they left, took all of the bronze back to St. Petersburg, and they're now on display at the Hermitage. We are in Heroes Square. This square, along with the surrounding blocks, are dedicated to the heroes of Budapest. These statues, along with a lot of artwork, were appropriated by the Soviet Union when they left and granted Hungary its independence. One of the subway stations is located across the street from the Budapest market. Market's also located along the railroad tracks. In 2015, they were starting to renovate the subway. In 2022, subway was completed, and it looks very impressive. Here we are in Market Square, or City Market. You can get just about anything you want as far as groceries go. And of course, since it's close to the dock, there's lots of tourist things. And an Aldi's.